Good noontime to all of you, and welcome to Kids in the Kitchen, brought to you by the South Texas Literacy Coalition. This is our health literacy effort, virtual cooking, and it's our version of, I guess, the Food Network. so, uh, trying to share recipes with you that the whole family can enjoy. And with me today is Laura McDermott. She's on our board, and she and I have been friends for a long time. Hi there, Laura. How's it going over there?
Oh, it's going great. I'm excited about
Great.
what I'm going to make today. And I'm sure glad you came on because I was about to have an ice cream sandwich.
Oh, it sounds delicious. And this is the day for it, right?
It's
Now, I understand that the weather's going to be such that we might have a little rain. And so this sounds like the perfect recipe that you could run out today, get all the ingredients, and have it at home. Make it during the weekend and enjoy. So take it away.
great. Well, I was looking for a recipe of something fun that I could do with my grandson. He's going to be having a birthday. And since we won't be able to have a big party, I wanted to just have a big splash of a fun time. So I came up with a recipe that I've adapted a little bit online. And I'm going to be making an ice cream sandwich cake. And I think it's something that any kid could make and everyone, the whole family could enjoy. It takes three ingredients: a box of the mini ice cream sandwiches, some Cool Whip, and ice cream of your choice, any flavor. And so I'll go ahead and get started. And to get started, I am using a loaf pan here. You could use whatever you have at home. You may want to use just a glass dish, and that would work just fine. But since I wanted it to look like a really cool birthday cake, I'm starting off with a loaf pan. And since I'm going to be placing it in the freezer, I want to be sure that I'll be able to lift it right out. So I have cut myself some pieces of foil that I am going to lay into the bottom of the glass dish. And this, I've just folded it into shape so it'll be exactly the length. And then I've made myself some strips that I could lay onto the bottom that will hang out towards the outside. That way I could lift the cake up when it's time. So that is the beginning of my ice cream cake. And I'm using the minis because I really like the mini ice cream bars. They're less than 100 calories a piece. They're delicious. They're made from milk products, so can't be too bad for you. But I thought this would be super fun. So I'm going to go ahead and first thing you do is you unwrap your ice cream sandwiches. And you place 4 on the bottom of your dish. Now, according to the size of your dish, you may want to put 5, 6. The good thing is that they can cut really easy and you can make them to fit your pan just right. For the sake of time, I'm going to only use 2 on the bottom today. And I'm going to make my pan a little bit smaller just by changing the shape of the foil. And the reason I'm making it small is because I have another one in the freezer, and everything I make, I get to eat, so I don't want to have too much there. So I've got 2 of the ice cream sandwiches down at the bottom, and I love strawberry ice cream. So at this point, you can use any of your favorite ice creams. If you like butter pecan or chocolate, or even chocolate pudding can be used. But for today, I'm going to make the next layer with strawberry ice cream. That's going to give it a really nice contrast when we get to cutting it. The key here is that you want to cut slices of this cake, and it's going to have all the different layers visible. So with a small spatula, I'm going to get that ice cream and place it into shape. And of course, we're going to shape it into the size of the pan here. So once you have your layer of ice cream, you're going to start with the next layer, and you're going to cover that with more ice cream sandwiches. And this is something that any child can make, and it's a lot of fun. The only thing is you can't take too much time because we are the South Texas summer and things start to melt really quick. So because the pan is a little awkward in shape, I'm going to go ahead and cut that ice cream sandwich in half. So now I have 2 layers of ice cream sandwiches with strawberry ice cream filling in the middle. So that already looks super cool. I'm going to go ahead and top this off with some Cool Whip. Nothing wrong with that, is there? I know my grandson's going to love this cake, but more than anything is that we could make it together and enjoy it together. So that looks pretty easy. If you have a taller pan or loaf pan, you could make this as tall as you'd like. But for right now, there's the topping on my cake. I'm going to smooth this out. Now at this point, you could take it from here and do whatever you'd like. If you have la lechera or chocolate syrup or sundae sauce or caramel sauce, you could play with that right on your cake and be creative. I'm just going to make one line down the center. And with a toothpick, I'm just going to drag that line from side to side. And if you want, you can make a second line. I know my grandson loves sprinkles, so that was going to be what I was going to cover that with. Now to top this off, for any kid, so much fun to put your favorite topping on top. This could be chocolate chips. It could be crushed Oreos of any kind. It could be vanilla wafers. But because he's going to B5, it's a very, very special day, and we want to make it festive and fun. Now, how long did that take? Here's my birthday cake. And I'm going to go ahead now and just show you how nice it's going to look on my dish. I'm going to lift the edges. Lift my cake up. Place it on my platter. That looks pretty nice, doesn't it? Now I could go ahead and slice my cake here. Let me let you take a look. How does that look? Well, that was my 10-minute ice cream sandwich cake. Anybody can make it. Fill it with whatever your favorite topping is right in the center. And there's my gourmet birthday cake. What do you think, Dr. Ida?
That looks amazing. I kept thinking about flavors that I'd like to try together with that chocolate, with the sandwiches, and also maybe put pecans on top, chopped pecans. So, you know, this is one of those cakes that you can buy. Happens all the time that you can buy, but wow, what fun to make it yourself. And I think you could even put a little food coloring in the Cool Whip and, you know, make it any color that you wanted. I can see for holidays, I can see for all kinds of things, how great that would be. Look at that beautiful cake. Wow, amazing, amazing. And, you know, this is the kind of treat that you want to have every now and then. Not all the time, but every now and then. And it's a great project. Now, I was thinking too, Laura, that if you wanted to make small ones, you might be able to take the small loaf pans, the aluminum loaf pans, and make little ones, you know, that way for 2 people or maybe 1 person.
And actually, that's a great idea, Dr. Ida. And that's what I was starting here is I had lifted the foil.
Okay.
Just to make it mini because everything I make here has to be eaten and there's only 2 of us, you know.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
sandwiches. So I do have a little mini cake starting here, but I think it's just such a fun little treat. But for any 5-year,
Absolutely.
what a great party.
Oh yeah, amazing. If you wanted to put one candle or several candles on there, but again, like she said, you got to work quickly because if you're going to be inside, it's a little bit better. But if you're going to take it outside, it's going to melt quickly. But how delicious that would be. So, you could use, like I said, those mini little loaf pans, and then you might be able to cut the corners and move that foil down, and then you'd have that as well. So, just a way to use what you have at home. And so, we've got lots of things probably in our freezer. And one of these days, we're going to talk about freezer management and refrigerator storage, and how I'm not the kind that has everything labeled, okay? But in my mind, I've got like condiments on top and eggs down here and milk over here, and so that I know exactly where to go to. And if somebody says, "Where's the mayonnaise?" It's very top shelf. And so, now's the time, since you have time at home, to take everything out of the refrigerator. And if you want to do it shelf by shelf, and do the top shelf today and the next shelf tomorrow and the following shelf after that, do the same thing with your freezer, that's okay too. But, clean everything down with a solution of baking soda and water. And then you can also use one of the little cleansing towels, or you can use alcohol on a paper towel, just to give it a wipe down. And, organize your refrigerator. I'm sure there might be something at the very back that's been there a while, that's made their home there for a while, and it's time to get them out of there. So I want to say hi to Maria Solis and Leo. Alanis is on, and Maria Elena Valle, thank you for being on the show. I'm going to start my recipe now, and mine is coming from the Disney Princess Cookbook. We've been doing all month long. Next month we'll do something else. But I have made under the sea sand dollar crackers, okay? And I don't know if you can see, I'll try to show up close, one of these crackers looks like a little sand dollar, and it's from the story about the Little Mermaid, okay? And so it's a very easy recipe. It is a scratch recipe. I haven't tried it using like Bisquick and that kind of thing because I wanted to try it this way. But we're going to start off with 1 1/4 cups of flour. And I've already preheated my oven to 400 degrees. And then we're going to add 1/3 cup of grated Parmesan cheese. And there's nothing like fresh Parmesan cheese. This makes a very nice little cracker. You could eat them by themselves, or next week we're going to do hummus, and you could eat them with hummus as well. And then we're going to add 1/2 teaspoon of salt, and I like to use the coarse salt. And then 1/2 teaspoon of paprika. And paprika is ground red pepper. Just for a little bit of, it actually doesn't give it a kick. It gives it a good look and a good flavor as well. And so I'm going to use my whisk again and whisk those ingredients together. Now this recipe does not have eggs. It has 1/2 and 1/2. Okay, 1/2 and 1/2. But when you mix all of this together, make sure that and remember, if you stir or whisk from the outside in, you can be sure and get everything mixed up very, very well. Okay, now we're going to add, first of all, our butter, and my butter's in the refrigerator. And the reason that I'm going to use 3 tablespoons of butter cut into pieces, and it needs to be really, really cold. And you can use a fork to cut this in to the flour. I'm using a pastry blender. This is a pastry blender. You can get it anywhere. You can use 2 knives. You can use a fork, but I like to use a pastry blender. because it just cuts into that really good. And you do this until the whole mixture looks like a bunch of little peas or like granular. And again, I'm trying to work from the outside in to work all the flour in there into the fat. And what this does, it creates a very tender product, a very nice little cracker. And you cut in as much of the fat as you can. We ask that the butter be cold so that when it bakes, it gives that tenderness to the product. Because if you put melted butter in here, it's going to be a little bit too liquidy. So you want that to blend in with the flour, and it will, as it's baking, it will create a very tender product. And tenderness in baked products means that you can bite into it. It has a very nice texture. It's not hard, okay? I have made hockey pucks before and cookies and that kind of thing, but it's all in how you blend in. And you notice in cookie recipes, you do the butter and the sugar together. Okay, I think that's done.
Dr. Ida, if they don't have a pastry blender at home, can they use a fork or something else?
They can use a fork. They can use 2 knives.
Okay.
Anything that. Now, I wanted to use this to show it to you because, you know, I had a plumber come to my house yesterday because I had a little bit of an issue with one of my bathrooms. And so a plumber has tools that he uses. He said, you know what he told me? He said, send me a picture of the inside of the tank because I got to take the right tools and I got to buy the right parts. So electricians have the right tools, mechanics have the right tools, plumbers have the right tools, and cooks need to have the right tools. But cooks, we have the ability to improvise a lot, okay? So again, if you don't have a pastry blender, you can use 2 knives or a fork, and just work on that, okay? Great stress reliever to do that. Okay, so now we're going to add half a cup of half and half. Now, this has fat in it. It does not have the egg, but it's half and half cream and half milk. If you don't have half and half, you can do half cream and half milk. Just make sure that you mix it well. Okay. Again, I'm incorporating the dry ingredients into the cream, half and half, from the outside in. Make sure that we get all that in. And make sure that you wash your hands really good when you're working with dough. Okay. You can see it's turning a little bit pink from the paprika. And you keep working it until it gathers together, and it will gather together. On days that it's humid, you might have to add a little bit more flour because there's moisture in the air, you see. And so, but this is coming together nicely. And generally, what's happening is science. It's the flour absorbing the liquid that we put in here to create this dough. The cream helps to, now these little crackers are not, they end up being about a half an inch thick, but you cut them about a fourth of an inch thick, okay? So, it's gathering into a ball, and sometimes you might be, and you can take turns, okay? There's more children in the family. You do 10, and I'll do 10, and you do 10, and we'll get it all together, okay? Now you see how that's gathering into a ball. And then what we're going to do is, I'll just use this little spoon. Get all the dough off. Now, Lada showed you kneading, and one of my friends says, knitting or kneading? I said, no, kneading. So what we're going to do is I have a little extra flour here. And by the way, I've taken my cookie sheet and I put parchment paper on it. It's ready to go. And I'm going to put a little bit of flour on my pastry board here and just dump the dough. Okay. Now, if you have a cat, Lada knows I have cats. When she comes to visit, they scare her all the time because they go in the room and they hide. And so cats like to, have you ever seen a cat going like this, kneading? It's part of their development. They would do that when they would drink milk with their mom, from their mom. Okay. So we've got our dough just like this. And to knead it, you bring a part of it towards you and then press it down with the palms of your hands. Towards you and press down. Towards you and press down. Towards you and press down. Bring it towards you and then you press down. And what we're doing is we're making this more elastic. And by that we mean that it's incorporating all the flour that I put on here. And it's going to form a nice little ball of dough, okay? Now I'm going to put a little more flour down. Who else has joined us? Selena, my neighbor. La mamá de Joaquin, she says, okay? So here we are. Now, we need to roll this out, and I'm going to take a piece of parchment paper and put it on top, okay? And I'm going to, first of all, I'm going to flour my rolling pin. I want to tell you about this rolling pin. This rolling pin is over 100 years old. My mother's father made it for her when she was a teenage girl. And she used it all her life. She died at the age of 98. And she said, you have my rolling pin. Make sure you know what to do with it. I didn't make as good tortillas as she did, but Okay, so I'm going to put my parchment paper here, and we're going to roll, okay? You roll one way, you roll the other way. Let me move this over so I don't knock it down, because my granddog is here watching like, what is she doing? And I hope something falls on the floor so that I can eat it. So we're going to roll. And the reason I'm doing that, you could do this without, but I want you to see the trick to this is not the baking. Roll it up a little bit more, about a fourth of an inch in thickness, okay? And then I pull this off, and I've taken a little cutter, okay? And I always put a little flour on it, okay? I'm just going to cut a few of these, but I want to show you something about how to make them look like little sand dollars. Now, again, these asked to be baked about 7 minutes. It took mine about 11, okay? So here's what we do. I took an egg, added a little bit of water, and made an egg wash, okay? And Laura showed you how to do an egg wash when she was doing her bread. Well, before I do that, I want to do something else. Now, if you bake your crackers like this, they're going to pop up in the middle. So what you want to do is in the very center, take a toothpick and make a little hole. And this will allow some of the air to come out. I don't know if you can see it, but let me stick mine, okay? Just like that. And then put a little egg wash on. Not too much. The reason we're going to do this is, and it took me a while. I bought the 2-pound bag of sliced almonds because I just keep it in the freezer. But you're going to do 5 perfect almond slices on the little cracker. This is a labor of love, okay? But when you taste these, you're going to like them, okay? So I'm going to put 1 in each one. So that my egg wash won't dry out. And I'll keep going, of course, but there you have your little sand dollar cracker, okay? And so these are put, just leave a little space between them. They actually don't rise very much, or they don't spread or anything like that, because it is a dough. So you continue on, put them in the oven, bake them, and then you have a wonderful little cracker like this. It makes a wonderful snack. It can be eaten with ranch dressing, ranch dip, bean dip, hummus, whatever. Next week we're going to fix hummus, so you should enjoy that. So that's the recipe, and this is from Ariel. Ariel collected a lot of human things because she always wanted to come up from under the water, but she also loved the water and all the things on the beach, and sand dollars were one of them. And so these are her under the sea sand dollar crackers. So hope you enjoyed. It is a lot of fun. When you have leftover dough, after cutting all out, you make it into a ball again, like I did here. I had this left over from yesterday. And you can put it in the refrigerator, and then you roll it out again, and you cut them out again until you have no more dough left, okay? Now, these freeze well, and actually, it makes a very nice little cracker for like a baby shower or a bridal shower or a woman's tea or whatever. We're not doing too many of those right now, but you can make them, have them in the freezer, take them out, let them thaw at room temperature, and you're ready. And they look very, very pretty. And so it didn't take long. I guess the longest it took me was to pick out all the good sliced almonds to make sure I had them all, because some of them do come in pieces. I'll show you. I go to Sam's and I buy the large pack of things, and I use them all the time. This is 2 pounds, and some of them are broken, and that's okay. That's the way it is. I do green beans, almondine, and almonds with this and almonds with that, and then I eat them for a snack as well. And so I sat down last night and tried to pick out all the perfect slices for the under the sea crackers. So hope you enjoyed that. And remember, we want to give a shout out to our partners out there, HEB, and some of the people that support us. We had a wonderful little practice trivia night last night. And on August the 12th, we're going to have another trivia night. It's going to be a fundraiser. And we're always trying to raise funds to get books out to families. Right now, we're working on supporting the teachers in all that they're going to be doing this next school year. Many of them are going to be starting, virtually from their classrooms or from home. And so teachers, go to our website, www.southtexasliteracycoalition.org. If you'd like to put in a book request, please do. If you can figure out a way to take one day out of the week and have families come by and pick up some things from your school, we can provide you some books. And so just fill out the book request, and we'd be happy to do that. And of course, all the fundraising that we do, every penny of it stays right here in South Texas. We don't send it off to anywhere else. And so it helps us to purchase books and to get them packaged and delivered to those children whose families might find it challenging to get a book. Or right now, when we're in a stay-at-home order, go someplace, be sure and go by our office too, because we have a little free library there. And so you go on outside and pick out a book. But read. Reading and writing are the keys to school success, making good grades. Think about the things that you're going to change from the spring. What worked and what didn't work if you are doing virtual teaching and virtual learning, okay? And incorporate some of these things because, you know, a child in your family could count, we need 5 little almond slices for each one of these cookies. So you can count. Get the littlest one to count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and have them ready for you, okay? Count how many you can get out of the dough that you have spread out. Read the recipe, look at the measurements, all kinds of things that health literacy and cooking can contribute to the sciences and to learning. And it's a life skill, okay? This can be something that they're going to be using when they're in college, okay? My kids used to call and say, remember I used to make that carnita with corn recipe? What is that? How did you fix that? And I said, when you were here, you acted like you didn't like it. Oh no, it was delicious. We just like, all of our friends were eating pizza and hamburgers and whatever, and we were having homemade food. Well, he said, now I feel like homemade food. So, and they both became great cooks. And so that's great. So Laura, any last words for our crew here? We have Melissa Loftus is on. Thanks, Melissa. And she says, love hummus. Okay, so come next week. And, you know, anything else that you want to add?
No, I just want you to have a good time. We've got, looks like we might have some heavy rain. So pick up a good book. Look into your iPad.
Yes.
Find some fun recipes and use what you have at home. Is always more nutritious, usually more nutritious to eat.
Right.
But you can control what you put into it. So start those good habits and start your little cookbook with your kids. Have them start writing like that when they, like our kids, they would have already practiced some of these recipes or have them in a collection, and it makes it great for the future.
And
have a nice weekend.
If you don't have almonds for some reason, you can design, you know, we're into art too. You can take that toothpick and you can design, you know, little holes around this to make it look like a sand dollar. And so if you can also do research on sand dollars, you can do research on the sea, you can read Ariel's story, you know, all kinds of things that go with this. And so it lends itself to a lot more than just getting in the kitchen and saying, oh, I've got to bake something. It's okay. There's a lot of learning moments that go with this. So have a great weekend. Please stay safe. Wash your hands a gazillion times, as we've said. Wear a mask wherever you go. Social distance, okay? Clean all your counters and things. Make sure that you are safe. Keep yourself safe. And keep everybody else safe in your family. And if you have been tested positive for COVID for some reason, stay home and take care of yourself. And, you know, there's certain things that you need to do, and that is, you know, get enough vitamin C in your diet. Eat fresh fruits and vegetables because they're the ones that have all the good stuff that helps your body to stay immune strong, okay? So hope you enjoyed it. Laura, thank you for that wonderful recipe. I'm ready to try it for a nice dessert at home. And I may just take 2 little pans and make it and then have one secretly stored in the back of my freezer. So for those days when I'm kind of depressed, I need to have a little pick-me-up. So thanks so much. Enjoy. Have a great weekend. And remember, our recipes are on our posting. Bye.